לא, לא, כולנו רואים את זה.
מה זה?
שיו!
יואו! רוט, לב, מה
מה
זה?
זה, אמא?
מה זה, ראית? לא בנברות.
תראה, יש שם עוד.
הנה, תראי שמה. מה זה?
אמא, לדור, אמא.
ג'ודאיזם, מה זה? זה סמלים. יואו. זה לא אמיתי. מה זה? ראית את זה?
אתה מאמין לזה? מה זה הדבר הזה?
זה יורד למטה.
אתה מצלם? אתה רואה?
אני רואה, מה זה?
תגיד, שתים יותר מדי?
לא, לא.
לא, לא, כולנו רואים את זה.
מה זה?
חמישה עיניים.
שיו!
יואו! מה
מה
זה?
זה, אמא?
מה זה, ראית?
לא בנברות.
ראית את זה?
תראה, יש שם עוד.
הנה, תראי שמה. מה זה?
אמא, לדור, אמא.
יש קבוצה שלמה שם, תראה.
יואו. זה לא אמיתי. מה זה? ראית את זה?
וואו.
מה זה?
Coming up next, has an actual alien abduction been captured on tape?
It does appear to be an authentic video.
Some believe the security camera footage reveals the shocking disappearance. And then 2 hours later, the reappearance of an unidentified abduction victim. What really happened? Our experts take you inside by experience.
Our journey across the paranormal borderline is nearly over. But before we go, we'd like to present this story. We recently received an anonymous letter in the mail. We received many letters like this, but this one provided enough information to warrant further study. It told the story of a worker who appeared to have been abducted by aliens. The letter was accompanied by a tape which allegedly shows the abduction. Here is the tape. There are 4 black and white pictures. In the top right quadrant, a worker walks right to left through a gate. He disappears here in a flash of light at 11:16 p.m. The tape continued to run normally until almost 2 hours later. Then the victim reappears in a second flash of light, now in a fetal position. Then moments later, now crouching, he vomits, and seconds later, staggers right to left, out of frame. According to the author of the letter, the footage was copied from a surveillance system. He reports that soon after the incident, the victim abruptly quit his job and moved away. The letter writer claims that the tape is valuable and expects to be paid for it. We provided it to some experts for their analysis. Yvonne Smith is a well-known hypnotherapist and UFO researcher. She chairs a support group that counsels abductees. The stories her patients tell bear a striking similarity to the incident on the tape, particularly the victim's disorientation.
I work with many people that they suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. Something happened to them, externally happened to them, that they don't maybe quite remember, but they know they became ill. They know that, you know, they came back and it was 1 o'clock in the morning, and what happened? I just opened the gate and it was 11:15, And then next thing I remember, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm sick to my stomach.
What happens during the missing time? Abductees claim they've been rendered immobile, transported to a craft, confronted by alien creatures, and taken to an operating room where the real terror begins.
Sperm is taken, ova is taken. I mean, there's a variety of experiments or examinations that take place during the course of an abduction. If during the course of what's happening to them, if they are being given medication, it's no wonder these people are ill.
Is this tape the first photographic evidence of the abduction phenomenon? Bill Schneed holds a PhD in criminology and psychology. As an investigative research analyst, he creates and cracks security systems. According to his preliminary investigation, little conclusive evidence can be drawn from the footage, and yet he believes that it's authentic.
I think if someone was to create this type of thing, it would have been much more professionally done. I think that the individual who submitted this simply took advantage of some electrical disturbances or disturbances that we have yet to discover that surrounded this day and is trying to capitalize on it. But it does appear to be an authentic video.
Both experts agree on one thing. If there is no explanation for the flashes and missing time, the tape may be a major breakthrough in research, and for Smith, it could be the proof that validates millions of abduction claims.
This is what we've been waiting for, something that we could get our hands on and say, well, look, we got the time here, there's a flashlight, the power surge, look at this whole thing, everything went out. You know, and then the guy comes back, it's 2 hours later, hey, he had 2 hours of missing time. That's not unusual. We have cases upon cases like this. And then here we have it on tape. You know, then if we could interview the guy, if I could do some hypnosis, some therapy with him, and see what happened in those 2 hours of missing time, and we can really put a fantastic case together.
Unless more information surfaces, no one can know if this was a real abduction. But researchers like Bud Hopkins, who's been a leader in the field for over 20 years, are more interested in the impact on the victim than the veracity of the footage. Because if aliens were involved, this individual is out in the world, suffering, and needs help.
The damage that's done to the psyche of those people is just incredible. And when they are put together with other people who have had the same kinds of experiences, there's such a sense. One woman said to me, it's like finding family. It's like being home. It's realizing that I'm not crazy, that these impossible experiences seem to have happened to other people. I feel enormously relieved.
We urge the author of the letter and the man in the tape to contact us. Clearly, this is a case that needs more
configuration than we do, and the little grays, that's the most prevalent one.
He walked on the moon. Tonight, he says, aliens are among us.
Former astronaut Lake Worth resident Edgar Mitchell has raised some eyebrows and ruffled some feathers with his claims. Tonight, News Channel 5's Tim Malloy goes one-on-one with this true believer.
With his beloved terrier in his lap in his comfortable Lake Worth home, he could be a retired insurance salesman. But take a look at Edgar Mitchell's wall, his photo gallery, that picture taken on the moon, February the 6th, 1971.
What more can an explorer want than to be where humans have never been and to observe, gather your data, go back and tell the people.
Ed Mitchell can captivate you talking about his 9-hour and 17-minute moonwalk. It was a record. But there's something else he'd like you to know.
I don't know how many or where or how they're doing it, but they've been observing us and here for quite some time, and we see these craft all the time.
Ed Mitchell is a straight talker and a true believer that we are not alone.
I believe what I'm saying, and I cite the evidence that I know.
He says that the government he served in the military and as an astronaut is perpetuating cover-ups of alien sightings, going all the way back to the legendary 1947 Roswell incident, an alleged alien spacecraft crash where remains were allegedly recovered.
The reason for the denial was, number one, they didn't know if these were hostile and could we protect ourselves from them. Didn't want the Soviets to know, so they devised to to lie about it and cover it up.
Mitchell is unbothered by critics who think the guy with the right stuff has taken a wrong turn. He has no doubt there are alien craft observing Earth right now, and many more out there looking for us.
How many civilizations could there be, or do you believe there are out there?
Billions. We've got billions and billions of stars in a galaxy, and billions of galaxies, and it doesn't take but a few planets around a few stars to have quite a few civilizations.
Dr. Mitchell is one of only 12 people who have walked on the moon. He says he has never personally seen an alien, but believes the people who say they have.
Return. On the 25th anniversary of the event in 1994, Neil Armstrong made a rare public appearance and held back tears as he spoke these brief cryptic remarks before the next generation of taxpayers as they toured the White House.
Today we have with us a group of students among America's best. To you we say we have only completed a beginning. We leave you much that is undone. There are great ideas undiscovered, breakthroughs available to those who can remove one of truth's protective layers.
He is
very awe-inspiring. And when you look out here at this big universe that God has created for us, it makes you feel about that tall. It's very humbler, but it's very impressive and very awe-inspiring to look back on Earth from space.
Before Gordon Cooper entered the space program, he had his own encounter with a different type of space traveler. While flying over Central Europe, his fighter squadron came upon a formation of UFOs.
There were a number of extraterrestrial vehicles out there cruising around, flying the same kind of formation we fly in our fighters. They didn't have wings, they were saucer-shaped, and we never could get as high or as fast as they were, so to really positively identify them, but they were metallic-looking and saucer in shape, and they could do a few maneuvers that we couldn't do in an airplane, like just horizontally displace themselves rapidly, be flying along and just move over rapidly.
Gordon Cooper's UFO sighting wasn't his only close encounter. In 1958, he was working as a project manager at Edwards Air Force Base in California.
I had a film crew working for me on a project I was doing to put a precision landing system in on the edge of the dry lake bed. And they were filming the various stages of the installation. And a small saucer apparently flew overhead and put down some landing gear and landed out on the dry lake bed, only about 50 yards out. And these were old pro cameramen who were used to flying in all kinds of vehicles to take all kinds of pictures. And so they picked up their cameras and started over toward it, and going to get some close-ups. And with that, it lifted up, put the gear back in, and at a very high rate of speed disappeared. So they came in to tell me what happened. I told them to get over to the lab and develop the film immediately. And I would go and look in the book, regulation book, and see what you're supposed to do, who you have to call to report these kind of incidents, which I did. And by the time they got back with the film, there was a higher and higher and higher ranked man preceding the last one, assuring me that I had to get those negatives into a pouch and that they had made arrangements already to get our commanding general's airplane reserved and take the films to Washington.
In an effort to organize open investigations of UFO sightings, Gordon Cooper wrote a letter to the United Nations in 1976, appealing for assistance. His letter stated, these are extraterrestrial vehicles visiting from other planets.
And it was presented to the council and certainly made a lot of people aware of a number of things that perhaps they had not been aware of before, so maybe it opened a few eyes. This universe is limitless and tremendous big universe, and we're kind of vain to think that we're the only ones that exist here.
I think it's extraordinary if a man of that caliber is publicly coming forward. Perhaps there is a sort of process of public acclamation going
Mr. Armstrong, Bart Sibrel, ABC Digital. Wanted to give you the opportunity to swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon. Will you put your left hand on the Bible and swear to God that you walked on the moon?
Gentlemen. Mr. Sibrel.
Yes? If you really walked on the moon, why would you not do that? So why don't you just put the end to the record in the argument and put your hand on the Bible, swear to God you walked on the moon.
Mr. Sibrel, knowing you, that's probably a fake Bible.
Really? Well, no, it's a real Bible. You have the opportunity to have $5,000.
The meeting is not open.
Well, you have $5,000 cash. You can give it to charity if you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon.
Please
I have
give
the
it to
tape.
charity. It'd be fine.
Why don't you swear to... Why not? Why won't you do it? So why don't you put your hand on the Bible and swear to God that you walked on the moon?
Mr. Sibrel has made a fool of himself in front of the world. Mr. Sibrel, you do not deserve answers.
And though we are worlds apart, like us, there's more to them than meets the eye. I am Optimus Prime, and I send this message to any surviving Autobots taking refuge among the stars. We are here. We are waiting.